Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton. Luncha!
Welcome, whiskey brothers and sisters. How you doing today? We are in East Hastings.
We're on Franklin Street, East Vancouver, a block away from East Hastings. Yeah,
and it's a beautiful place to be. So I'm with Brian Grant, and we are here to try some beautiful liquid. If we can get a great shot at that, some rye whiskey today. But I need to ask you, kind sir. We've been talking about this for a little while. Yeah. Tell us how a career bartender who starts at 18, has been in the business ever since, goes from 17 is when he started. Really,
they can't get me now.
That's it. Yeah. Goes from that to this spot, owning your bar and this beautiful tasting.
So that's a really good question. It's basically been a lifelong journey, I think, to this point to create what's in that bottle. That was 3 years in barrels. Before that, it's been probably 15 years in the making since I came up with the idea to open a distillery. I've been distilling for about 14 years now, something like that. Learned a number of different places.
Legally. He's been doing it
completely legally. Yeah, completely legally. I worked at a couple of distilleries, Dry Fly down in Spokane, as well as for Home and Lane Wineries with Laurent Lafuente for a little bit, who's a great distiller and a good friend. We've really gone from cocktail bartending, where I started when I was quite young. I'm now quite old versus that, and has spent a lot of time, about over 20 years behind a bar. So really sort of refining my palate and what we wanted to do there. So taking that experience and bringing it to the distilling world, we've tried to create spirits that are very Canadian, rye being associated with Canada. We've used that as the main input into the distillery, and focusing on the expressions of rye grain, which is taking that one ingredient and turning it into a lot of different things. So we've got today a rye whiskey, which is aged for 3 years in a combination of used bourbon as well as red wine Cabernet barrels, and then blended together. So this is really kind of our signature whiskey that we've released just this Christmas. And then we've got a number of other products we make too, all really based on rye grain. We're doing some fun stuff with our gin, which is a rye-based gin, as well as looking at the future to doing a bunch of different rye-based or fortified spirits as well too.
Now you said fun, and you focus on the fun here. Just tell us about that. Tell us about the cocktail life.
I think that, that like we were saying, the spirits industry can be pretty serious, and we like to kind of bring a little bit lighter element to it. Our cocktails here in the lounge in East Vancouver, down at 1672 Franklin, shameless plug, is...
These guys, right?
Yeah, there we are.
There.
Is a real focus on making spirits fun. We do a lot of twists on classics, as well as some modern sort of looks at different cocktails, and utilizing all these different spirits behind us, from the white rye to the gin, to our pale rye, and really using them in different ways. So, I think that spirits should be and can be fun. We're surrounded by a lot of breweries here in East Van, and they're all fun. I love going to them as well. And we're in a great little spot here.
It's a place to be on a
Friday and
Saturday when it's open. We're doing this.
True, yeah.
It's not a Friday or Saturday, but we are enjoying this on a Tuesday morning. No better place to be in the world than at Resurrection on a Tuesday morning. So we're trying the rye, and here's the rye here. So it's at 42%, and I'm going to have you tell us why 42, because it's a unique number.
Yeah, so we did a number of different tastings at different ABVs, and we just felt that the flavor kind of melded the best at 42. So we decided to run with that. All of our other spirits are actually 45 ABV. We call it bartender strength. The reason is if you're making a cocktail or a drink, it usually dilutes using water and ice. So usually 3/4 to an ounce of water gets in there. And oftentimes that's watering down the spirit to the point that it's really not that present anymore. Okay. So at 45 ABV, we feel like it really stands up to that dilution and creates cocktails that are, still bold and flavorful.
I love the science. The science is great. So 45, but that's considering they're drinking it over how much time? Is that like a half-hour drink?
No, that's actually shaking it. So shaking or stirring imparts like a half ounce to about an ounce of water in there, depending on the dilution level. Obviously, if it's sitting on ice, then it's going to dilute even more from there too. So if you make a gin and tonic with it on ice, you should be able to, I think, have a little bit of that punch of the gin coming through. If it's not coming through at all, maybe you need to add more gin or less ice.
That's great. We are learning things today. We are learning so much. And we have Nick Bullard in the background, and he doesn't want to be on camera, but he's going to share it on the dram. We're going to do some toast or tasting notes.
Yeah.
42% unmalted, 100% BC grown rye is what we have. And it's lovely. So what do you get on the nose, buddy?
Well, I definitely get the rye, the barley would have. Definitely would.
The wood, on the sweetness. The
wheat.
wheat.
That sweet, because the wine comes through very,
Yeah.
very gently.
We have some of these red wine notes a little bit. For me, there's this classic rye spice on the palate, which you'll get to. And then as well as these sort of marzipan notes and the sweetness in the middle too. So yeah, it's, you know, I'm really fond of it. Obviously, it's been a passion project and taken a long time to get to this point. So hopefully I like it.
Thank you very much.
But I do. I'm really happy with where the product is at and what we're able to accomplish here. So.
And we talked about this privately before, but Canadian rye sometimes gets a bad rap for being too spicy, and I don't believe that. And there's when we taste this unmalted, it's got a fantastic mouthfeel, unmalted, having a better mouthfeel. It's non-chill filtered, which helps in that case as well. So a beautiful mouthfeel, and that maybe that helps with the spiciness for people as well. Maybe that's bringing down the spice.
I think so. I think it's also the combination of the barrels we use.
Okay.
I think there's a softening from the red wine barrels a little bit, and I think that adds a little bit, you know, some other elements and complexity. And it's interesting, you know, like we don't think of 100% American whiskeys as being too spicy. Pikesville maybe is a little bit on the spicier end, but I love it. It's fantastic. You know, other whiskeys like, you know, for instance, Rittenhouse or other straight rye from the States are really, you know, I think great whiskeys. And to me in Canada, I felt like, you know, rye grain doesn't know where invisible line the border is. It's all rye grain. And so, yes, there is winter rye grown further north. Yep. And, you know, the temperatures and stuff do affect this, just like terroir would. But that doesn't mean that our rye is undrinkable. And I think the proof is in the pudding here. Yep. We've got a glass in front of you that is made from 100% Canadian Canadian rye grain and made in Canada. And this rye grain is from even further north than where we are up in the Peace River region. And we're getting, I think, really complex elements and not just overpowering spice.
And it's going down quickly. The one note that is missing, and I appreciate this, is the lack of dill. Because I'm not a dill fan with the rye.
Right.
Did you try to stay away from that on purpose, or was it just natural?
Yeah, it was. To be honest, it was just natural with our process. It's just it's a flavor that wasn't showing up in there. When you do say that, it does make me want to make a rye-based akvi all of a sudden. Okay. I think that would be pretty cool, but we don't have to give that one to you. We'll give that to some akvi.
We're willing to try everything. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're at Resurrection Spirits, and we came here because of this book right here. So, Davin and Blair, thank you very much when you watch later. And Blair and I, in a couple of weeks, will be reviewing the gin, the dry gin as well on Tuesday. But we're here. There's the book. The page is page 38. And then there's a couple distilleries and breweries around the area. This is a perfect place for a Friday, Saturday. I was going to say afternoon, but really it's just the whole night and maybe the next day. I think you should come back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks for watching.
And cheers. Cheers to you guys. Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys. There you go.